Good afternoon, beautiful people of planet Earth and all other interdimensional, extraterrestrial, sentient beings visiting or abiding here on planet Earth. You've arrived at sacred space, Titania's realm, on this glorious spring day, the 21st of September 2025. The time is 12:11 p.m. and this evening, if you happen to be of the Jewish persuasion, it is a bit of persuading, forcing religion upon the children, raising them in certain traditions. Doesn't matter what religion, it takes a bit of persuading. You either feel it in your heart and soul or you don't. I know, I'm being a little bit whimsical. But anyway, to my fellow Jews across the globe, I wish you Rosh Hashanah Tova, Tikatovu, or Mitucha. May it be a sweet and beautiful year. May you be inscribed in the book of life as we are every new year. And may it be bright and beautiful and blessed and full of love and joy and prosperity and better health and all wondrous things. We're living in very strange and unique times, and I'm very humbled and pensive about it all, really. There's not much I can do except carry on day by day, live life as each day the Holy One and all manifestations of holiness presents to me as a gift, unfurling, see what I'm going to do with it. Anyway, yesterday I went to get some fruit and veg, actually for the birds, from Coco's at Annerley, and there's a second-hand shop next door, so I thought, oh well, I'll pop in and have a look there. And I ended up buying a very pretty tin. It's a T2 tin that they obviously sold their tea in, and it was coppery stippled, so I decided to cut it up and make earrings out of it, which gave me kind of a breakdown. I was so tired by the end of the evening. It's only aluminium. It's not even worth all that work that I put into it. And so I got myself all distressed about that for some reason, probably exhaustion, fatigue. I have breakdowns when I get overly fatigued and the old tapes start running, and I dive into the abyss and I have to drag myself back out of it again. Very, very quickly too, I might add. So anyway, I looked at them. I decided I didn't like them last night after all that effort, but I looked at them again today now that I'm clear-minded and my head's clear and I'm refreshed from a good sleep, and they're actually quite lovely. I mean, they'll be just costume jewellery. They're just made out of tin, and I'm going to paint them up a bit, but they actually look quite lovely. So I went into the self-hating, almost suicidal ideation mode, which I do go into when I get into those states because of, disassociation, identity disorder, and decades of abject horror and abuse. It's not hard to tip me over the edge. I even sometimes tip myself over the edge. So I've been thinking a lot this morning about, I even wrote about it on Facebook, that I don't give consent to my abusers, dead or living, to harm me in that way. I didn't give them consent in the first instance, and I withdraw all my consent for that. I need to be less savage to myself when I perceive that I'm failing. Failure is, after all, my style, and Quentin Crisp, and I need to be nurturing and kinder to myself and not expect too much for myself. After all, my mere survival is already a testament to my courage and my will to live and my desire to thrive and to find a true loving family and community and or tribe and a partner one day. So I mustn't let go of that dream, and I must work towards it every day in every way. And some days are just dark and harrowing. I even put another post up this morning because I posted a lot of memories that were quite traumatic too. And I said, we're not going to live in that consciousness. Better let it go. It's a glorious day, and we're just going to take delight in whatever the gods gift us with, and choose to be happy. Sometimes it's easier said than done, though. Sometimes I fail at that. But I've decided I'm out here in my sacred space garden with my beautiful Bo and Kermie, my birdie boys, and I've got a load of washing in the machine, and I'm fully enervated and activated. I'm also still a bit tired, believe it or not. But anyway, I'm decided that I'll read another chapter of the Silmarillion to my beautiful, courageous, stalwart YouTube subscribers. Some of you are new, so welcome to my channel. It can be a bit dark and a bit weird, and it can also be a bit magical with a K, depending on what the spirits around me are bringing to me for healing or for gnosis or for preparation for future events. Happens like that sometimes. Little bits of channelings happen that even I'm like, what's going on? Never used to be a channeler when I was younger. Couldn't hear spirit at all. So it's a bit odd, part of the aging process, I suppose, that your abilities begin to open up more and more. Perhaps they were always there, but you were in a different level of consciousness, so you were almost in another dimensionality and unable to access that light and knowledge and indeed power. So, there's a reason why they didn't teach Kabbalah to the medieval rabbis until they were the age of 40. It was always kept secret and reserved for someone who had reached an age that was considered the age of wisdom and least of maturity to handle the knowledge. And now, in modern times, Kabbalah is taught to anyone or everyone who takes an interest in it, which is perfectly lovely too, because knowledge is power. Knowledge is sometimes protection too, when you have an understanding of how, the gods or God and all manifestations of holiness really operates and how mere mortals operate. You can hold both reins of your chariot and literally drive your own bus, Gus, provided that not everyone else jumps off and leaves you to careen down into the abyss, which happens. It does happen, unfortunately. But the fool's journey is one of becoming more and more yourself and growing into your own being and the getting of wisdom. Ultimately, we rejoin again with the multiverse at our appointed times ordained by God or the gods, however you want to put a frame of reference on that. So let us continue with reading the Silmarillion. I just want to take my iPhone out of the sun because it's not good for it. And yes, here we go. Chapter 10 of the Sundar. I've been very stressing this today and working myself, apart from working on those little tin earrings and cut out hearts, that I cut out. I've been really distressed about money, and it's actually a bit irrational. Like, I don't get paid for another week and a half, but I actually have enough to get through. So yesterday I was in a real tizzy. I was really running around the house, freaking out with this weird anxiety about money. And I haven't been like that for a long time. I don't even know what that was about. So I really did have a bad day yesterday emotionally, a very bad day, a day of feeling, I guess, frightened about having enough money to go on for the fortnight, frightened about my continued survival on this planet, and my response to that was to buy more food and frantically make things out of tin as though that would make a difference, because quite frankly, people of Earth, nobody has bought jewellery from me. One person bought one thing from me, which was my neighbour down the road, Avril, did kindly buy a copper bangle I made, but no one else has bought from me. So I don't even, like, I have a website for my Titania's Realm, and I don't even bother, I just don't bother with it. I don't care enough about money to prostitute myself on social media. It sounds like I'm doing it now, but I'm not. Just giving it as an example. To prostitute myself and beg people to buy things for me, because I figure my philosophy has always been, if you want something, you buy it, or you ask for it, and ask and you shall receive, right? And I hate being pressured to buy things. Like, I buy things because I want to, because I see something that I think has potential, like that little tin yesterday, or something else that I felt I needed, which was a big tall glass Makona jar that I use for storing food in. So, I buy things that I perceive that I need in that moment, or that spark joy, or that I can transmute like an alchemist into something else. I hate being pressured to buy things, or to be advertised to, or harassed. Anyone that starts harassing me to buy something, I just tell them to fuck the hell off. And I don't ever want to be that kind of a person, a salesperson pressuring people to buy things. I find it tawdry and soul destroying. It's not something I enjoy. Some people enjoy, the excitement of selling and getting people to buy your brand, and it becomes very cultish at times, especially in large marketing, global marketing, big companies. It is cultish. I think it's cultish. It's tawdry. So I have my little brand, which is a spiritual branding. It's got nothing to do with manifesting wealth, people of Earth. And my sacred space garden in my Titania's Realm. And actually, you're forbidden to make money from your spirituality. It's actually a cosmic law. You're not to make money from that, which is kind of funny when gurus like Osho became multi-millionaires and drove around in bloody Rolls Royces, wasn't it? Murdered people too. So be nice to aspire to be a guru, but I don't want to murder people. I don't need trappings of immense wealth to feel like I'm a person of honour and integrity and decency and spirituality. I really don't. This is why I stay poor. Probably why I stay poor. Because, the Gnostics say that this is actually a slave planet. We're all set here as prisoners, and we're given certain roles to play, and they're all just masquerades. And you know what? That more and more, I'm starting to think that might actually be true. But on a happy note, on a planet hellscape, otherwise known as Gaia, Sophia, Mother Earth. It's a beautiful day. We're going to read the Silmarillion. I'm going to stop meandering. Here we go. We begin now. Hold on to your Volana Gutkers, babies. That's Yiddish for woolen, scratchy, itchy underwear, because we're going to begin. Of the Sindar. Now, as has been told, the power of Elwi and Milian increased in Middle-earth, and all the elves of Beleriand, from the mariners of Círdan to the wandering hunters of the Blue Mountains beyond the river Gilion, owned Elwi as their lord. Eleuthengol he was called, King Greymantle, in the tongue of his people. They are called the Sindar, the grey elves of starlit Beleriand, and although they were Morroquindi, under the lordship of Thingol and the teaching of Milian, they became the fairest, meaning the most beautiful, and the most wise and skilful of all the elves of Middle-earth. I wonder what the Australian elves think of that. Don't worry, they're here too. They are here at Titania's realm. They are all here, the ancient ones, walking amongst us unseen, guiding and at times protecting if the need be, but hopefully we don't need to form those contracts, because it is a kind of a bind. If you're protected, you're in a contract with someone. It can be very difficult to break it at times. That's why I like to be my own protector. But there's events that happen that are beyond your control, like women in clubs with their fickle, filthy fingering, and that was a classic Brikey domination construct, wasn't it? Dirty bitch. But anyway, I haven't forgotten, but I'm kind of over it now. And I suspect it was a set-up job too, because none of that was normal, people of Earth. It was either a put-up job, or she had, serious issues with amyloid clotting in her brain. So, on that note, I can forgive and forget, because it's not going to go good for her, is it? Things feasting on the brain, making you behave disinhibited and violent and foul. The ultimate revenge dance. A massive fucking brain hemorrhage or stroke. And, she goes around behaving like that in public constantly. Eventually she'll get a jail sentence as well. It's all ugliness. It's all ugliness, people there. I go out hoping for a beautiful night out, meeting interesting people who've got something to contribute, either of heart, mind, soul, some interesting conversation, or just some harmonising energetic flow, and you get treated like that. Jesus. Not Jesus, you understand. Even that energy would not dare put his fingers inside me without my consent. Or would he? We don't really know how much of that was real, do we? I've upset all the Christians that watch my channel now, but you know how I feel about that religion. Became debauched and evil, like many other religions across the world. That's why we live in the fairy realm, because the fairies have never tried to debase me, and I don't think somehow that they ever will. They know what I've been through, on both sides of that coin, growing up as a little Lutheran girl, and then from the age of 19 as a Jewish woman. growing up with all the evil and abuse that was thrown at me. Well, my darlings, I survived you all, and I'm not just surviving you all, but in my own small, unique, unusual, quirky way, thriving. Right, where were we? I got lost at... Ah yes, the most wise and skilful of all the elves of Middle-earth. Stuck in the middle with you. Jokers to the left of me, clowns to the right. Am I right? You see, some of those songwriters were channeling. They just didn't know quite what they were channeling, but it is what it is. Kind of have to chuckle at that. You gonna eat your coconut that I gave you, Kermie? You love coconut. And at the end of the first age of the chaining of Melkor, when all the earth had peace, and the glory of Valinor was at its noon, there came into the world Luthien, the only child of Thingol and Melian. Though Middle-earth lay for the most part in the sleep of Yavanna, in Beleriand, under the power of Melian, there was life and joy. How it should be, people of Earth. Life and joy. With your true beloved ones, we love you back sincerely. What life and what joy shall that be when I finally find the one. And the bright stars shone as silver fires. And there in the forest of Naldoreth Luthien was born, and the white flowers of Nifridil came forth to greet her as stars from the earth. Sorry, I'm feeling a bit emotional. I don't know what that's about. Since yesterday I woke up feeling that way. It's odd, my sleep results have been excellent. 0.4 this morning. It was 0.6 yesterday. I should be feeling great. I should be feeling on top of the world. But it's like that with complex trauma. It's constant fucking swings and roundabouts. Like being buffeted by invisible storms or slapped by fate. And instead of receiving true and real and caring, nurturing, protecting love, all I got was vicious attacks over and over again from people who pretended to love me. So excuse me while I every now and then need to have a little pressure cooker valve release and scream, sometimes on my own channel, by the way. But at least you know when you see this that I'm being real and true and authentic, and I'm not faking anything. Nothing gets faked. Not the joy nor the trauma. It is what it is. Little Bo, what are you doing? He's watching me like this. Don't worry, Mama. I love you. It came to pass during the second age of the captivity of Melkor that dwarves came over the blue mountains of Ered Lune into Beleriand. Themselves they named Chazad, but the Sindar called them Now Green, the stunted people, and Gonerim. Sounds very much like gonorrhea. It's not very nice, is it? Gonhiri, Gonhiri, Gonhiri. Got to get away from the gonorrhea thing, because now I've got that, I'm not going to get that out of my mind. Gonhiri, masters of stone. Let's remember it's a whole other language. It's got no Latin overtones. Oh dear goddess. Far to the east were the most ancient dwellings of the Nalgreen, but they had delved for themselves great halls and mansions after the manner of their kind in the eastern side of Ered Loon, and those cities were named in their own tongue: Gabil Gathol and Tumunzahar. To the north, sounds almost Hebrew or Aramaic. Zohar means radiant light. Anyway, to the north of the great height of Mount Dolmed was Gabil Gathol, which the elves interpreted in their tongue Balagost, that is, Mickelberg, and southward was delved to Munzahar by the elves named Nogrod, the hollow bold. Greatest of all the mansions of the dwarves was Khazad-dûm, the Dwaro-delf. Had Hadodrond in the elvish tongue, that was afterwards, in the days of its darkness, called Maria, and it was far off, in the mountains of mist, beyond the wide leagues of Eriador, and to the Eldar came but as a name and a rumour from the words of the dwarves of the Blue Mountain. I've been to the Blue Mountains once to visit my friend Margaret, and oh, what a beautiful magical place that is. But very cold in winter, but absolute glorious place to live. Sometimes I fantasize about going there one day, but then I'd have difficulty getting housing because you can't transfer between states with housing permission, and I don't want to end up homeless, so there is that. Trapped in a hellscape of not quite my own making, but because I was stolen from my own former husband and my own mother and father and de facto stepfather, and then the last man, that monster that my mother married, and his daughters. It's a lot, isn't it? It's an awful lot that's been taken from me, people are enabled by my government, by the way. Evil. Evil it was, is, and always shall be. I'm going to turn this around. I want to get out of the sun beating down on my arms. Just one moment. It's a bit better, isn't it? I have to be very careful because I get sun cancers, and the skin doctor I was seeing no longer bulk bills, and he keeps sending me messages, or staff keeps sending me messages that I'm due for a skin check. I can't afford it. I'm not willing to pay when it should be bulk billed, you know. So I have to be very cautious now about not getting skin cancers because A, I don't enjoy having my flesh hacked into, and B, you know, my uncle died of my biological uncle in Germany died of skin cancer, so it's not an ending that I willfully choose, says she out in the bloody sun, sitting under light dappled shade, but oh well, there you go. I'm incongruent like that. A bit odd. So, almost like living my best life still in defiance of the gods. But anyway, I don't want to go back there, and I don't have another GP or a doctor I can see, so therefore I have to be very cautious about not adding to my already sprouting cancers from ageing by the hot, hot, hot Queensland sun. Right, anyway, where were we? From Nogrod and Balagost the Nalgrim came forth into Beleriand, and the elves were filled with amazement, for they had believed themselves to be the only living things in Middle Earth that spoke with words or wrought with hands, and that all others were but birds and beasts. But they could understand no word of the tongue of the Nalgrim,